half human, half beast. Hello, folks. Welcome back to my channel. This is Goosebumps Wholeboy 1992 for you, bringing another Goosebumps book review. And this time, I'm going to be doing it on number 13, Jekyll and Heidi. But before I do so, I would like to apologize about the fact that I didn't review any Goosebumps book in such a long time. And the reason for that is I got busy with some other things, but God willing, I'm going to be, getting back on track and try to review as many Goosebumps books as I possibly can in the next couple of weeks, God willing, and try to finish series 2000 sometime soon, right? I can't make any promise now. But now let's move on to series 2000 number 13, Jekyll and Heidi. But before I move on to the story itself, I would like to say that this is a freaking good looking front cover. It has this monster, and you can kind of see it from above, right? And you can see the monster basically holding its head, and it's a scary looking head with, its teeth bared, and you have, teeth falling apart, and the monster, one of its eyes is closed, and it's green, and he's hairy and everything, and you have that scared looking girl that is hiding behind that table, and it looks like it's in a lab, obviously, because of the jars and all these potions, these green liquids, right? Whatever you're gonna call them. And it looks pretty dark, right? Around you have all these pipes, and it's all bathed in darkness, except for what we see in the front, in the foreground, with the monster and the girl hiding, right? So, and looking in shock, right? And they both have green eyes now, and it's reflected by the green liquids and the green, in the green glasses and all that. The green liquid in the glasses. I don't really know what it is. We don't really know ourselves as viewers, as readers. So it adds to that feeling of, the unknown, not knowing what is happening here. But now let's move on to the story itself, because man, it's a pretty good story, and I really enjoyed it. And well, this story is basically, obviously the title is a play on words. I believe it's called with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but this time it's Jekyll and Heidi. I believe Heidi Davidson is our main character, as it says here, and she's basically the beginning. The story opens up with her taking a ride to Shepherd Falls in Vermont, where she's gonna be living with her uncle, who is a scientist named Dr. Palmer Jekyll, after her parents died in a car accident. And again, this is a pretty sad background to one of the characters. I remember one of them was Beware the Snowman. So it's a really kind of sad background for one of the characters to have their parents, not alive because of something that happened. It's common in some Goosebumps books, especially in series 2000, where everything gets darker and all that. And basically, so she's going to be living with her uncle Jekyll, who has a daughter named Mariana. And basically, Mariana is, let's say, not, Heidi's greatest fan. They don't really get along together. And basically, Heidi is going to find out that her scientist uncle is basically spending a lot of time in his lab, and he seems to be working on something. And also, as soon as she arrives in town, she meets that boy named Aaron Fridas, who tells her a story that kind of freaks her out. But apparently, her uncle doesn't want her to make wind of any of that. He says, I think he dismisses it as just some, tall tales that kids like to pull on newcomers, right? But basically, there's a beast that is basically wreaking havoc, and yes, basically in the village, it's basically wreaking havoc in the town, and many people are scared, and so on and so forth. So you have that really scary, vibe to that book. And basically Heidi is gonna make it her main goal to figure out what is happening in this town and who's behind all that. And she's basically gonna become sort of like a detective, right? By investigating herself, and she's gonna find out. She's gonna make the most shocking discovery of her life. Now, I don't want to spoil it any more than I already have here in that short span, but basically, I'm gonna shut up now and let you know about my opinion of this book. Honestly, this is one of my favorite Goosebumps books, especially since Series 2000 is so good. But as a whole, it's a pretty good Goosebumps book. I really enjoyed it. It is hands down one of my favorite Goosebumps books because of all the whole, scary atmosphere. It's a lot like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There are a lot of references to it throughout the story, I believe. The whole fact that, you feel so. You cannot help but feel for the main character, Heidi, especially everything she has to go through. She's in a new city. So you have that whole estrangement kind of vibe to the story. She doesn't really get along with her cousin, Mariana, and her uncle is kind of an odd dog, kind of a weirdo in some ways because he doesn't really, talk to her. He spends most of his time in his lab. So it reminds us a little bit about Stay Out of the Basement in that regard and Beware the Snowman with the whole, orphan kind of main character that we have. But we feel sorry for her. But yet at the same time, she's a really strong young girl who wants to find out the answers for herself, and she won't stop until she gets them. And as the story progresses, it gets really suspenseful up until the very end, where you have that shocking discovery. And the ending, the final twist of this book was just wow. It just whipped me away. I didn't see that coming. So if I were to rate this book on a scale from 1 to 10, I would definitely give it a solid 9 out of 10, especially with the uncle who is basically this monster, right? This is, I mean, yes, this is basically the monster, right? Character, that you have is so scary, and the way it is described, if I remember correctly, because I haven't read this book in like 3 years, I have to reread it, God willing. But man, it really is scary, and the shocking discoveries that are made throughout this book make it an absolute fun ride for any readers. If you want to read it now during the winter time, it's not winter yet, is it? Anyhow, right? Almost winter. It's almost winter now, so I would recommend you to read it, especially since it has that very snowy, I believe, atmosphere at the beginning where you have some snow and all that. But man, it's a good book. So if I were to give it a rating, I already said it, didn't I? I'm going to say it again, 9 out of 10. It's a really, really great book. What about you, folks? What did you think about Jekyll and Heidi? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know about your favorite Goosebumps book from Series 2000 if you'd like, and hopefully we'll get to review more of those. And again, I apologize. I've been busy. I've been away for a little while, but hey, I'm just getting back into Goosebumps today. I just decided to reread, Goosebumps Welcome to Dead House from OG 62. And I thought to myself, I'm back in the Goosebumps kind of mood, right? And I apologize, it's been so long, but I've been preoccupied in some ways with other things. Like, for example, I like watching soap operas now. There's that great soap opera, Days of Our Lives. It's really good. I really enjoy it. And I've been watching some television shows too. I love TV shows like Cold Case and all these. But I know that I should review Goosebumps because that's why I created this channel 4 years ago, right? To review some Goosebumps books. So God willing, some Goosebumps books. So God willing, I will continue, and I will throw in a horror movie every now and then, God willing. And thank you for having supported me all this time. I'm just reading your comments. Thank you so much for all the support. Really means a lot to me. and hopefully my reviews are good. I try to improve as I go, but sometimes it's a little, I don't know. I try to add a little spunk, a little kick to it, and I hope that you would like this one. So yeah, so have a good day, everybody, and stay safe. Goodbye, and read this book if you haven't. Peace.